Hi, welcome to my channel. Welcome back to No Ticket Backwards. Because we always in life will find ourselves in moments where all we can do is go forward and there is no going back. And I think one of the things that's the hardest about when everything changes, change is hard. Change is hard. Adapting to new things can be difficult. But I think that if you look at the underlying situation and what's going on, a lot of it's fear, like fear of security, like will I be able to pay my bills? Who am I? Like there's a lot of fears that come up. Um One of the biggest fears, and it can be very specific if you're leaving certain types of situations, or it can just feel very broad, like if you just have an overactive nervous system. But it's a fear of not being safe. Like the fear of not being safe, the fear of not feeling safe. And so, like, what is something you can do when you don't feel safe? So, Fiona, I have Fiona back because she's been in situations where she didn't feel safe. She has many stories, and we're going to talk about protection. So we're gonna have where there's gonna be a small video. It won't be on this one, but it will be somewhere on my list, and it will be under the Fiona and Taiza playlist. So you'll find it there. But it will be the practicalities, like if you're into energy work, what you can do to send out protection. And it's a little bit, it'll be a little woo woo, but it's manageable. Like people, if you believe in energy, then it will work for you. Like you don't have to be into doing really intense things to do some of the practices that we'll have. So that is there. So if you're watching this video and you like it and you want to know how you can energetically protect yourself, we will have some practical to-dos in another video that should be in the same playlist. And labeled clearly protection how-tos, like nothing mysterious about the title. So with that, this is more of a thought, like thinking about stuff. Like there's a word I was thinking I wanted to use and now I can't think of it. Fiona, what word do I want? You're a teacher. What is this?
I don't know. Is it a provocation?
It's like theoretical. Like
Oh,
when
okay.
it's you're afraid things. Hmm?
Yeah, keep going. Yes.
When you're afraid of something, like everything's changing and you have fears. Some are rational, some are irrational. Um, a lot of it's theoretical. So it's like we don't necessarily spend time really thinking about how our fears are playing out and what protection can mean. Um, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Do you have stuff to add to that?
I have a lot to add to that.
Oh, oh, we'll jump
I
in.
I found myself in a situation that hindsight, I think my spirit team was just kicking me into a spot to learn some things that I'd been choosing to ignore over time. And in hindsight, I can see how I've been divinely guided and divinely protected so often. But this was a moment for me to realize that I could actually ask for protection. And that was the start of a whole new thing for me to be able to ask for protection. I was helping a friend out for an exhibition at a big national exhibition, and there were thousands of people walking through this exhibition hall every day. And it was a 4-day event. On the second night, so halfway through, we all went out for a few drinks or maybe a few extra drinks. And I decided in my wisdom that let's get some exercise in and walk home instead of catching a cab, because
Mm,
why not? And then we got to an intersection, and why walk the little bit extra up to the pedestrian crossing when you can jaywalk a little bit and cut the corner? And then not notice that there was an obstacle like in the medium strip of the road, and you just faceplant in the middle of the road. But then why would you accept help And rather than being a stubborn, independent person and say, no, I'll be fine, and keep walking home. And then you get home and you've got cold ice on your face and it's hurting and it's melting and running down your arm and you're feeling sad and sorry for yourself. So I contacted a friend who I knew would be awake on the other side of the world. She was in Canada. I was in Australia, and I said, oh my God, look what I've just done. And I'm so embarrassed. I don't know how I'm going to be able to front up for the next 2 days. I don't know what I'm going to do about this. I am so embarrassed. My face, look at my face. And I was sending photos and going, I am so beat up. Like I look like I've been in a, full-on domestic violence situation here. How am I going to front up for 2 days? Like everyone, all the other people at the stand are going to laugh at me, and I don't want to be laughed at. I'm so embarrassed. Anyway, she said, just give me a minute. I'm just going to pull over on the side of the road and I'll help you. I think she was in a car park somewhere. She was on her way to the shops. And she took me through a process of asking me about every single thought that I had that was certainly not positive. They were all my negative thoughts about the situation, all my embarrassments, and then she took me through a process of apologizing to myself and forgiving myself for the situation. And she said, what's going to happen is that this is helping to put a protective bubble around you so that you're in a protective bubble. And I thought, oh, well, what have I got to lose? I've got nothing to lose. I'm just going to go with this. So I went with it. And then, like, in all seriousness, I don't know why I was even allowed back in front of all these people to do the peopling at this exhibition. Like,
Wait, so you
seriously.
were in front of people? Like, were you presenting or were you just attending?
I wasn't presenting, but I was like, if people walked past, I was the one that sort of started talking to them if they were interested in what items were for sale
wow.
in this stand. I was engaging with them, and like I was part of the peopling.
That's a lot of peopling. A lot.
I had 2 more days of this, and there were thousands of people that walked past every single moment. Like it was just like this full-on continuum of people walking past the
How
stand.
bad did you look? Because you said it looked like you had been beaten, but like what?
I had a graze on my chin, I had a black eye, I had a graze all over my face and all down the side of my face. Like basically all this side of my face. Somehow or another I got grazes on the back of my hand and on the palm of my hand and on my knee, but I had long pants on. So you couldn't see that. I was like beat up. And so what happened with this protection was because I had said, like, I don't want to have to explain myself to anyone. I don't want anyone talking about I don't want to talk about it. I don't want any discussion about it. So what happened was that for those 2 days, no customer or potential customer questioned. They just talked to me, looked me in my eye and just talked to me. None of the other people from the stand talked about it. Nobody discussed it.
Wow.
There was no discussion. On the following night, a little boy, a friend's son, in private, or kind of private, like there was no one else around, and he said, Fiona, what really happened to your face? So he asked, but I was in a safe environment. I didn't mind answering him because I wasn't in front of customers.
Was it a child too?
And it was a child. I didn't mind. But he hadn't asked during the day when there were customers around. He hadn't asked them. He waited till there was no one around. And that was fine. So I thought, oh, there's divine intervention going on anyway. And I was just amazed all day, like, no one's asked. No one's asked. How cool is this? No one's asked. Thank you. This is so cool. And then the second day, the same thing. Then I had to catch a cab. And the cab driver was fabulous. And then I raised the topic about my face. He's like, yeah, I was really worried. I thought you'd been in a DV situation. And I'm so glad that, it wasn't domestic violence and that you're actually okay and all's good. And then I had to catch a flight home. Nobody on the plane, no one in the airport said anything. No one else commented until I had a discussion with my husband when I got home. Like I was absolutely divinely protected, and it was my introduction to be able to ask for protection because
can I just jump in real quick? 'Cause I think it's important to also say it was the protection you wanted because, like, in a situation where if there had been DV, you would want someone to ask to intervene, perhaps, but that wasn't the case, and I think that's really important to mention because it's such a different like, the circumstances are so different, so different. So it's like if someone is in
Absolutely.
a DV case, their protection isn't necessarily having a shield so people don't ask questions, and I really want to honor that truth and not just leave it unstated because it's a very different situation.
Oh,
For
absolutely,
you
it's a different
yeah,
situation.
for
But how many
you
times when we
personally look, I just wanna finish. So you personally asked for this specific kind of protection. Like, it's what you wanted. It was catered to your what you wanted, what you desired. It wasn't just, like, some generic protection. Like, you know what I mean? Okay, I'm done. You can jump in.
so I following on from the DV situation, you can ask for protection for help,
Mhm.
and how that shows up, like, we can talk about that another time perhaps.
You know what? I actually think right now is a great time to talk about it. Like if you want to share what you would suggest for somebody cuz that's like one of the most potent times when people are starting over and need protection. And
So
yeah.
you can say, like, I need some help here. Can you please bring me help? Can you please bring me an opportunity to be able to speak my truth and to feel safe to speak my truth? To feel safe and protected and know that I'm divinely protected, that I can speak my truth without feeling that, the retribution for it is going to be detrimental and could kill me. So there's an opportunity in all of this to be able to ask for it. And one day I'm going to do the big reveal about one of those situations as well. But if we go to like this situation where I'm starting over, I had never been working in a big exhibition like this before. So it was kind of starting over. I was with people that I had only just met. Some of them I knew, some of them were new to me in the other staff. And that was kind of like starting over. But it's those same feelings of embarrassment and I guess there was probably some shame in there and kicking myself for like, what a dumb decision did I make? And not wanting to make a fool of myself. Clearly it did, but but like not being able, I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want people laughing about it. How many
Mhm.
times in our workplace, or if it's a new workplace that we're just starting out in, that we just go like, I don't want to make an idiot of myself. I want to make a good first impression. I don't
Right.
want people like you might have, I don't know, got a scratch on your face or a zit or I don't know. There might be something in your life that you just go, I just don't want anybody talking about that. I don't want any attention on it. I just want to be able to be safe. I want everything to go smoothly. I want to feel accepted. All of those, all of those emotions, all of those thoughts, there's a way that you can just ask for that protection. And I really don't remember the exact process that happened that particular night in the early hours of the morning for that to happen. But clearly, it stuck with me as a memorable moment that when you are divinely protected, things happen that look in strange ways, but it happens.
Well, it was really impactful for you in your world because it was something that you had a lot of feelings about. Like, the embarrassment can feel like you're gonna die. Like, when you're really embarrassed, it's just, like, one of the worst feelings, and then the shame that can come along with it, and then trying to explain yourself over and over again. But what I'm hearing too more with that was that the absolute consistency of how that was delivered was a huge turning point in your faith that there was something more available. Like it wasn't just about the fact that nobody asked about what happened to your face. It was also confirmation that the work worked, what she did worked. And I also think that's important to kind of talk about too was there was like thought work that was done. It wasn't just like, "Okay, protect me," and then not working with almost like energies around what was going on, if that makes sense. And I think it's important too because I don't want it to feel like when you're trying to protect yourself, sometimes the threats are imagined and sometimes they're a lot more threatening and dangerous and in your face, regardless of what the situation is. Um, and like, I don't want to do anything victim blamey where it's like, well, you just have to, pray and it will be better. Um, like there's a fine line, like where there can be threats that can really deride our safety. And also where our personal power comes in. Like, and this is where it gets a little woo, and maybe this is where it's not for everybody. But like if you believe that you are co-creating your life and that you get to like choose your own adventure and even that like what level, right? But it's almost like you don't know what's possible until you allow yourself to think that something beyond what we think is rational is actually possible. And like how you arrive at that may seem to not follow the narratives of like like that's irrational. That doesn't make any sense. Um but the thing for me is if it works, it works. And if I do it once and I try it again and again and it delivers results, then it wins me over. Like I'm really pragmatic that sense that if I feel like something's been successful once, I'll keep doing it. And it sounds like this was a beginning for you where you were like, I actually can co-create safety in my life. And then you're like, I can actually show up and feel safe because I know I can create safety.
Yep.